Blackthornprod, one of the biggest game dev YouTubers, was once an incredible resource for beginners, but are they now running a huge scam? Are their courses any good, or are they misleading customers, exploiting other YouTubers, and even breaking the consumer laws? They are promising the indie game dream to go full time with creating and selling games. But is it a false promise? I reached out to YouTubers who previously collaborated with them, and even Noah and Leah themselves, the two brothers behind Blackthornprod, to get their point of view. The more I dug, the more everything started to unravel. Blackthornprod officially became a thing back in 2015 when Noah and Liam were only 15 and 13 years old. In the early days they were exploring and learning while posting their process on their blog. Noah created the art and Liam did the code for their games. They started creating tutorials and devlogs on YouTube. In 2018 they went from 1,000 subscribers to 10,000 subscribers in just 6 months. And less than a year later they reached 100,000 subscribers. In 2019 they consistently got 10 to 30,000 views on each video, with outliers that gained a ton of views. They had established themselves as a trusted part of the game dev community, with their high quality videos and collaborations with other YouTubers. However, they were about to take it to another level. 3 years ago, one video changed everything. A Pass the Game challenge. That video today has 1.8 million views. They found their golden goose, and they wrote that goose and kept doing those videos. But they never really nailed it with the other videos. Today they have over 600,000 subscribers and are posting videos every second week. Along the way they sold different courses on game dev and art. And they were very inspiring in those early days. About 2 years ago, they released a new course, which is supposed to be the ultimate game dev course. Before I tear this course a new asshole, there's something else we need to address. For context, in judging their work, I'm a pro game dev with 12 years of experience, both in the AAA and indie space. I also released 2 of my own games on PC and Nintendo Switch.
This is the Pass the Game challenge. 6 developers build an entire video game, the catch being that no communication between them is allowed.
In those videos, Blackthornprod does minimal editing and effort, and the devs do all the work. They create the games, the content, and even edit their part. And Blackthornprod just puts together the video. So basically they do a lot of free work to be in the video, get some exposure, and maybe have some fun. The videos are filled with ads for their own products and sponsorships. I reached out to a dozen of the developers who contributed to these videos. None of them were compensated with the generated revenue, and they got little to no exposure. Asylum Studios, Andrew Cunningham and Toby Murray participated with 4 entries in 2 different Blackthornprod challenges that both got cancelled. In the first challenge, the deadline was moved again and again, and then ultimately cancelled. And then the second one was cancelled on the day of the deadline. Then Blackthornprod ghosted them for months. Andrew and Toby jumped through hoops for half a year, hoping for them to release something they worked on, so their work wasn't wasted. Blackthornprod also promised to shout out their game once it was released, but they never did. This year they released their game, a roguelike called Ram, where you play as the enemies. Check it out if it's your vibe. I reached out and Andrew had this to say: my time participating in Blackthornprod's game jam challenges left me with the impression that I was working for a content mill. Full stop. Blackthorn's only interest in our work was as a free resource that they could allocate at their leisure and discretion to grow their challenge. When they decided it wasn't useful for that goal, they threw it out and asked for more. They made a YouTube video about this, and the comments are packed with developers who had a similar experience. Other developers have stated that the challenge is a do it for the fun and nothing more kind of experience. It's really a mixed bag. However, that's not the worst part. This is how they funnel customers into their next scheme. Their course, the Game Dev Rocket. It has a promo video where they talk about going full time and live the dream, creating games on the beach. Okay, all of that for only $6.99. How cheap? And actually it's just been 50% off. This is the top comment of that video, which I think is very telling. This gives off huge boy guru vibes. Another comment says this: I'm sorry, but this looks like get rich quick to me. In October, they also started selling a course called the Bootcamp for $1,000, consisting of 6 different tutorials on how to create different small games with what seems to be pre-made assets. They only took in 30 students, and from their claim, the big value is that they give you feedback every day. I think the course sold really poorly because shortly after, in November, they started promoting the Game Dev Rocket again, now with a 50% discount. But they had taken down the original website and published it on a different domain. They make their money from YouTube ads, sponsorships, and selling their courses. They are not actually making money from their games. Noah, 50% of Blackthornprod, released 3 commercial games. Between 2019 to 2021, The Dreadful Whisperer is his best-selling game. I estimate it to have sold for about $15,000. Not entirely bad. The 2 other games did a bit worse and only earned about $5,000. That's $25,000 in total. After Steam take their cut, it's about $17,000. I couldn't find any proof that Liam released the game. So looking at the time they've been doing this, it's a ridiculous low amount of money. It's less than $1,500 per person a year. However, considering their huge following, this is pretty bad. You would expect a lot more sales. In their course, they mostly cover how to create a YouTube channel, monetize it, and practical info about publishing a game on Steam. Not how to pick a marketable game idea, genre, or art style, nor how to get influencers to cover your game or how to fund the game. It's a very basic course in how to use different programs. One Reddit user said that the course had missing project files, and another had a mistake in them, causing people to do tedious work with a workaround and waiting months for simple updates. I'm not sure if it's still like that. Hopefully they updated the course. In short, they just can't teach you how to be a full-time game dev because they don't know how. But it gets worse. On the website you will find testimonies. Apparently Danny, Bardi, Polymars, Taudev took their course and all gave it 5 stars. I found that really hard to believe, so I reached out to all of them. This is what Bardi had to say about the subject. I believe the way in which they approached me about the testimony was disingenuous. It's presented on the website in a misleading way, which makes it look like I rated their course 5 stars, but I never actually seen the contents. I was never approached by the brothers about using my testimony on their bootcamp. They also never asked me whether they could use my face, as evident by the random screen grab they'd taken from one of my videos. The original testimony was made without much thought, just helping out a friend, which is negligence on my part. Blackthornprod used to be a place for new developers to go to get incredible value for little to no cost, but they seem to have figured out a way to abuse that trust for financial gain over the last few years through their videos and courses. Another developer from the testimonies confirmed this as well. Both of them didn't know that the testimonies were actually still being used to sell their course. And on a different course, the bootcamp, they're reusing the exact same testimonies. This is fake. These quotes from the famous game dev YouTubers are not about the course. Maybe Danny's quote is just from a random YouTube video where he wrote a comment. However, they make it seem like it's from the course and that they rated it 5 stars. It's very misleading. And is it illegal? We'll get to that, but it actually gets even worse.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
This course consists of different sections. You'll learn game art, programming, and so on. Each of these courses are about 6 to 30 hours long, at a mere price of $200 to $1,600 per section. If you could buy them individually, that's insane. Learning how to make a multiplayer game in 6 hours is just not worth $1,000. The total price of the full course is $5,000. But we're so lucky we can only get it for $700. Oh yeah, and with 50% off. But hey, they offer a money-back guarantee, so I'm safe. In reality, most countries in Europe require you by law to offer 14 days refund, depending a bit on the country. So if they deny you after those 7 days, they're actually breaking the law, unless you as a consumer withdraw that right. But according to their terms on the website, they don't. So it depends if you're requesting a refund if they're overstepping the law. It should be mentioned that in those 14 days, if you actually begin the course, you don't have that right. Lucifer. It's illegal under the consumer law in the US and EU to have fake consumer testimonies and reviews. I believe these are fake and were never about the course. I proved they use the same testimonies on different courses and present them as reviews, judging from the 5 stars. According to consumer laws, your product must have been sold 13 days at a given price and be selling before you can claim that as a previous price of your product. Stay with me. I can't prove that they ever sold their product for $5,000. I did look through the history of the website since the launch in March 2023, and it was never sold at these prices. EU consumer laws warns about fake discounts, where a company presents a original inflated price to make the discount look larger. What I found looks very similar to that kind of practice. I reached out to Blackthornprod to get their opinion and asked about these issues. They never replied, unfortunately. If you bought this course and weren't happy, I suggest you request a refund and refer to the links I provided down below for the laws regarding misleading customers and inflating the price, even if the 7-day refund window has passed. If you earlier had or been offered participation in Pass the Game challenges, I suggest you decline further participation. This is part of their scam to funnel people into their course. Personally, I don't have a stake in this. I reached out some years ago about Pass the Game Challenge before I knew better, but I never participated. Blackthornprod used to be a beacon for beginners to get into game development. They used to make great content. Some years ago, I would have loved to collaborate with them. Somehow along the way, things went bad. Have you ever had any experiences with their courses? Let me know in the comments or by email. I would love to hear about your experience. Recently, they have been pushing their courses again, and with their huge influence, I think it's very needed to shine some light on how scammy these courses actually are. Thank you so much for watching.